Yin Yang, accurate meaning and why it is so much more than a symbol. Yin Yang is a symbol many people recognize. It has been seen in movies, apparel, jewelry, and it has even been used in advertising. However, Yin Yang is more than just a symbol. It is a belief and a way of life associated with the Taoist or Taoist religion, which has been the native religion of China. The symbol itself is representative of the interaction of duality. Yang begins action and Yin accepts it, the balance of all things, and it incorporates all things in existence. In this symbol, the black side, which is Yin, is representative of feminine energy, passivity, reception, the moon, rivers or oceans, and valleys, while the white side, or Yang, is representative of masculine energy, mountains, activity, and the sun. The concept of yin-yang has been in existence for centuries, permeating throughout Chinese and even Japanese history by means of religion, politics, fashion, way of life, and art. Aspects of the yin-yang in the earliest known depictions were found on Chinese oracle bones in approximately the 14th century BCE. They were initially used to demonstrate natural phenomena, specifically the sun's movements. In this age, knowing the sun's movements was essential to farming and their way of life. The yang was representative of the bright sun during the day, and the yin is the absence of the sun at night. This also means that yang refers to movement because people work during the day, and yin would represent their state of rest at night. The yin-yang symbol was initially created when Chinese scholars observed and recorded shadows throughout the course of the year, which they did in order to better predict the best times regarding agriculture. After illustrating the shadows, the design created what looks like the yin-yang symbol without the alternate colored dots. Once this illustration was created, it became the basis for the image now used for the yin-yang symbol we know today. In China, the belief in yin-yang was all-encompassing for their cultural practices and had deep-rooted meanings. For the believers of the concept of yin and yang, it is the meaning of everything. For Taoists, their interpretation of yin-yang can be described as thus. The darkness, prior to being hit by the first spark of light, is chaos, is negative, and is female. Taoism identifies what is meant here by the word yin. Only after light appears can there even be the knowledge that darkness existed. The spark of light that sets everything in motion is the male principle called yang. It is quite obvious that in Taoist contexts that yang cannot exist without yin, just as yin cannot exist without yang. This is a more abstract view of this essential concept. However, a more concrete depiction and their most basic representation of the yin-yang is of the sun, yang, and the moon, yin. The sun does represent activity, power, and light, yet the moon is equally powerful, yet opposite. The moon aided the Chinese to dictate time as well as control the tides and influence human biology. The theory of yin-yang is not only one of equal yet opposite forces, but also that everything contains a portion of its opposite, meaning that nothing is all good or all bad. Referring again to the sun and moon symbolism, daytime's integral force is the sun, yet even in day there is shadow, and sometimes during the day the moon can still be seen. At night, when the moon is the dominating figure in the sky, the light emanating from the moon is simply the reflection from the sun. Both forces need the other to function and maintain balance. This ideology can be translated into human behaviors. Even though yin is seen as the softer, passive, more feminine side, it would not be balanced if a woman were to be all yin. It is said that the woman needs the small amount of yang, represented in the symbol by the small white dot, or she would be too sensitive for the world. The same goes for yang. If the man were all yang and had no yin, then he would be too aggressive and overbearing. Throughout all of life and the universe, there is this balance of both, and they're needed equally to create the whole. This belief is heavily tied to another concept of Taoism, which is the Qi. It is the Taoist belief that humans need to become one with the way, or the path of nature, and the universe as it flows naturally. If Tao is the pathway of natural forces, Qi is the energy that flows throughout everything. The Taoist believers feel that Qi is also the regulation and balance of everything within our realm. If one has an imbalance of yin-yang, this disrupts Qi. These forces, while present in nature, also relate to the path of the believer. To have Qi in balance, first one needs to balance their yin and yang. This is realized in daily life through one's actions. Food, nutrition, activity, and social interactions are all elements of the yin and yang that fuel one's qi, whether it be negatively or positively. This is also a basis for Chinese medicine. For example, some types of food contribute to qi of yin quality, which is calming and soothing to the body. Examples include cucumber and pear. Conversely, other foods such as pepper and ginger produce qi of yang quality, which is energizing and stimulating to the body. Imbalance of the qi can cause physical or even mental illness. Aside from food, overall health and wellness is integral in balancing one's qi. The practice of Tai Chi is a well-known method of achieving this. The yin-yang symbol is also sometimes called the Tai Chi symbol, and Taoist followers incorporate Tai Chi into their practices. It is a slow sequence of specific movements that requires intense focus and aids in the proper flow of one's qi. This practice ensures good life flow, reduces stress and anxiety, as well as improve movement and flexibility. This in turn can improve the quality of sleep, lower blood pressure, and boost immunity. Taoists also believe that political leaders should be in alignment with yin-yang, or they will suffer the wrath of natural catastrophe. The concept of yin-yang, not necessarily the symbol we know today, has been utilized for centuries within Japanese and Chinese life, especially by their leaders. Confucian philosophers and Taoist scholars worked in combination to assist political leaders in China and Japan. It was believed rulers were responsible for the weather, and if they did not follow the laws and remain in balance with qi, this would give rise to natural disasters. The book Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism, influenced the evolution of government and law in China because it is designed to guide the behavior of a ruler. The king or emperor is advised in the text to govern in a way that makes his rule as unnoticeable as possible. This book came at a time where there was a surge of natural disasters, and the kingdom was rife with corruption. Its writings offered wisdom to the nobles so they could become better leaders and bring balance and harmony to the land. This concept traveled to Japan, where it became the principal way of governing. Throughout many years, Japanese emperors used what was called Onmyodo, which translates to the way of yin and yang. Onmyodo were the designated practices of yin-yang scholars. Utilized within their political system was what they called the Bureau of Yin and Yang. Japanese emperors depended on the onmyoji, or the yin-yang scholars, to help predict natural disasters, war, and to aid them in vital decision-making. Onmyodo was a complex system of rituals and ceremonial procedures that governed everything from choosing the days for events, decisions on war and their enemies, and political agreements. Another essential book that utilized yin-yang theory was the Book of Changes, or the I Ching, written around 1000 BCE. It is a book of divination for guidance, used all throughout the Far East by many Taoists and Confucianists. Think of this book as a tarot book, to be consulted after drawing the tarot cards. The I Ching had hexagrams that would interpret yarrow sticks that were thrown on a table when seeking guidance. The translations of these hexagrams are based on the principles of yin and yang. These predictions were determined for auspicious days for events or even daily actions. Everyone in the country were made aware of them, and citizens fully believed in the predictions and traditionally abided by them. The yin and yang concepts were not limited to nobles in Japan and China. They permeated throughout all the lives of their citizens. Seen in ancient Chinese artwork, sculpture, and even landscaping have been physical representations of the yin-yang concept. It is common in ancient Chinese paintings to see many landscapes. The translation of the name for these paintings, which is Shanshui, literally means mountain water picture. These paintings comprise of mountains, symbolic of yang, and the water, in the form of waterfalls, rivers, lakes, or oceans, which are symbolic of yin. The mountain water landscapes theme was also seen in landscaping for Chinese nobles. The landscapers would create mounds that were representative of hills to symbolize yang, and incorporated streams or ponds to symbolize yin. The duality was also shown by arranging contrast between open sunlit clearings and dark areas of deep shadow beneath spreading trees or inside artificial grottos. The Chinese were so devoted to the concept of yin-yang that they incorporated it artistically into their whole surroundings. Artistic expression of the yin-yang symbol extends to jewelry and apparel and has re-emerged in the 20th and 21st centuries throughout pop culture. However, the use of the symbol is mostly devoid of its original meaning and used by most as a popular fashion statement. Starting in the decade of the 1970s, during the hippie movement, which stemmed from individuals seeking peace during the Vietnam War, signs and symbolism were used as a form of protest. The peace sign was a popular symbol that was seen throughout clothing and signs, as was the yin-yang symbol. It may not have always been used appropriately, but the bearers of the symbol may have had the intention of attaining balance in a world in turmoil. Then again, in the 1990s, the consumerist market was saturated with the yin-yang symbol. This was possibly due to the Gulf War, which began in 1990. There was turmoil between the U.S. and the Middle East, and at the time a popular saying was peace in the Middle East. The American populace was striving for peace, and whether everyone who wore the symbol knew it or not, they were part of an agenda. The fashion industry was trying to generate balance in a conflicted nation and use their platform and the yin-yang symbol to do so. It was at heart more than the latest fashion trend. It was seen mostly in jewelry, specifically necklaces and rings. The use of the yin-yang symbol in fashion died out at the end of that decade, but has made an appearance recently. The yin-yang symbol is now commonly seen in nail art, shoes, and has been produced as a handbag. One extremely popular shoe brand, Nike, has incorporated this symbol in one of their new shoes called Nike Air Huarache. On this shoe, the yin-yang symbol is seen on a tag on the side of the shoe, on the insole, and on the laces. In their product description on their website, Nike claims that subtle yin-yang symbols on the insole and side encourage you to seek balance and harmony in your day. This is yet another way individuals express the symbol and incorporate its meaning into daily life. To conclude, yin-yang is a well-known symbol that evokes an idea of peace and balance. It has a rich and long history throughout the world in many different aspects, including art, religion, politics, tai chi, divination, and writing. It can be helpful to anyone to understand its meanings and utilize its intent within daily life. The beauty of this symbol lies in its portrayal of balance in nature and of all things. Learning to find balance within oneself is a skill of self-awareness of thyself. Lao Tzu wisely said in the Tao Te Ching, "Those who know others are intelligent. Those who know themselves are truly wise. Those who master others are strong. Those who master themselves have true power." Everyone has a life force, and it is their responsibility to preserve it and to feed their yin and yang equally and properly. This is the way and the true meaning of the yin-yang symbol.